Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Carrow Road. It's all quiet in here. This will be the equivalent of watching a manager give his post-match press conference whilst trying not to get in trouble with the FA, so enjoy it. I'm joking. It's finished here. Norwich City 0, Middlesbrough 0 in the day's early kick-off. If you start taking into account the FA Cup game, then Norwich are starting to struggle to get shots on target, and certainly today, the first time in a very long time in the Championship since I think April 2018 that Norwich haven't registered a shot on target in a game, and I think they only did it at Middlesbrough actually, thanks to Emi Buendia's penalty. So Neil Warnock was feeling particularly chuffed with this goalless draw. For understandable reasons. I think if we analyse the game itself in terms of what the players were putting into it, Middlesbrough were excellent at what they were trying to do and how well they did it. From the first moment, they were very disciplined in terms of their positioning. I thought they put a greater emphasis on Grant Hanley sort of developing Norwich's play out the back to the point where they basically let him go with it and see what he could do and cut off a lot of what Ben Gibson could do in terms of pass creation. So they'd obviously picked up on that. And in terms of him come to the edge of the Norwich area, there wasn't a lot of space, and they really marshalled that very well. Probably not too surprising because they played with a lot of defensive players on the pitch, so that was kind of their game plan. But they did carry a counter threat in terms of pace and progression the other way, maybe not really creating a lot themselves until later on in the game, where they were playing against 10 men and there were more spaces. There were more spaces in general in the second half. I think both sides were keen to move the ball a lot quicker and develop their play better, so it did become a more open game in the second half, but without either goalkeeper really being worked. In fact, I think it was the first 10 minutes Norwich had their best opportunity, which was actually one moment of really poor defending as Mario Vrancic basically waltzed into the penalty area. The goal was there ahead of him and managed to slot wide of the near post from 10 yards where he had to hit the target. It was a golden opportunity, and he obviously won't need me to tell him that. And I suppose in a game like this, where you know what Middlesbrough are going to do and how it's going to go, you see a chance like that and you just think, you can already sense that in 80 minutes time Norwich might be regretting the fact they didn't take it, which was what happened. Now obviously I've been tweeting through the game. Nothing else really happened on the pitch apart from one key incident, and tweeting through it, I'm obviously observing the fact that Middlesbrough players are going down easily, which Norwich players do that as well, so we're sort of used to that. It happens a lot. I think it's a bit different when you see that, but then they're also grabbing players' feet when they're on the floor, which Darnell Fisher did to Emi Buendia in the opening few minutes, and wrestling Emi Buendia to the floor via their neck, and maybe accidental elbows in faces for Duncan Watmore, which on Max Aarons, which did leave him with a different shirt and a sort of a damaged face. And Max Aarons is grumpy the rest of the time, so I don't know if that would have improved his mood. But I think when you're doing both, you're looking at a referee to give a strong performance, and just be balanced, really. Just referee a football. Literally, just go and do your job. Referee the football match. And I have to say, Keith Stroud today was fairly abysmal in terms of officiating the football match. And I hate saying that because when it's a goalless draw, and Norwich didn't play very well today. So let's be clear with that. They didn't create a lot. They did well to come away with a point, to be honest, and they defended pretty well in long periods. Middlesbrough did exactly what they wanted to set out to do, and they did it very well themselves. Keith Stroud arrived at the game to referee it, and he didn't do it very well. I think that's just how it is, really. He was so inconsistent. He was reacting to whoever gave the loudest shout to decisions. He was not booking players when he should have done. And it was literally encapsulated in the last minute, where there was one shove in the back from Adam Eder, in fact, which he gave, and it's like, yes, that is a foul, congratulations. And then another one a second later where I can't remember who it was clearly pushed with an arm in the back, and he just didn't do anything. And you're like, well, why don't I understand how that works as a what I don't get that. I can't. I'm not going to lament referees, but no, just in terms of being objective as you referee a football match, I don't know. Which of course all revolves around the red card. 67th minute, Emi Buendia sent off for his second yellow card. The first one, I think, is a yellow. 41 minutes. It was a slightly heavy touch. Johnny Howson has still got it. What a player. Very clever, picked up on a heavy touch from Emi Buendia. Emi went in a bit late. I mean, it wasn't a particularly bad challenge, but he sort of clocked him on the shin, and it was a yellow card. Fair enough. And I think at that point, with how vocal and chippy and everything that Middlesbrough were doing, and then it being Emi Buendia on a yellow card, you just knew that was half their plan achieved, and you knew that the rest of the game would probably be about getting him sent off. First opportunity they had to get a second yellow. So Emi Buendia and Saville slide in. Emi doesn't get to the ball, and it's advantage is played. And then once the advantage is over, or the attack ends, which was in the middle of the pitch, by the way, the referee stops play. Takes a few minutes. By that point, all the Middlesbrough players have shouted at him, including Saville, who's now up, by the way, and ran towards him. And then he sent him off for his second yellow. So by the laws, if it is a second yellow, the referee has to stop it and give the second yellow to send him off, unless it's a goal-scoring opportunity, a really genuine goal-scoring opportunity, which wasn't. So he has gone against his own the rules, and therefore you assume being affected by Middlesbrough's reaction to it. If you look at the tackle, there's no part of Emi that really goes into Saville, possibly apart from his thigh but he basically retracts from the challenge. They both done the same thing, and they both really barely hurt each other. And Saville has gone down holding his torso, crying, basically. So he's deliberately gone out to get him sent off, as far as I'm concerned. And, this is effectively what Daniel Farke said. Maybe Emi Buendia's reputation preceded him a little, because that, I think, is what Neil Warnock basically said after the game. They knew that something could happen with Emi and he could do stupid things. Now, if you want to be objective here, at this point, what I would say is Emi Buendia shouldn't even go to challenge for the ball. So he has gone and slid down, but there's nothing that he's done really that's earned a yellow card, as far as I'm concerned. You could say he's given him a decision, but he's given him a decision by being on the pitch in that moment, the referee. I mean, so at that point, I think what we're basically saying is Emi Buendia should have just stood there and not competed for the ball. I mean, so what do you do with that? Is that literally what Emi Buendia has to do in that situation? Or alternatively, the referee does his job properly and makes the right call. And that's how I feel about it. So, obviously had an intrinsic effect on the game then, but Norwich actually did well and still carried a threat. Daniel Farke was proactive with his changes after that moment, brought on Anel Hernandez and Przemysław Pojeta to give them more pace on the counter, and I thought it worked, but don't get me wrong, Middlesbrough had some great opportunities to have won the game as well, and as I said, by the end of it, you take the point. And that was it, really, I think, in terms of the game. Emi does now miss the next two games, which is Millwall away on Wednesday, I think it is, and then Swansea, big game, Swansea away on Friday night. That's because it's one game for two yellows, which of course Norwich can't appeal because it was a second yellow, so you can't appeal those red cards. So he misses that game, but he also gets a second game that he misses because it's his second red of the season, which was also another two yellows at Stoke, which... that was more of that's a bit stupid, don't really need to do that, Emi. I thought this one was a bit ridiculous, but there we go. Can't change it. In terms of the only really other noticeable thing today, by all accounts, although I saw Timu Pukki hold his side and come off with 2 minutes to go, or whatever it was for Adamida, apparently he was just feeling leggy, which is why he came off. That's what Daniel Farke told me, so hopefully that's, true. And the only other thing I think really worth saying is that Dimitris Giannoulis made his first appearance and he started the game, which was obviously a big moment for him. I think the first half was inauspicious. I think you could see that the pace of this game, and probably not helped by the opposition and what they're really good at, I think that was a bit of a wake-up call. What I will say is, and we're talking about this first 90 minutes in English football, I thought you could see times where he got up the pitch, used the ball well, and you could see sort of why he's here, and you can see he's got a lot. And you know, the first time you do anything is always going to be a bit ropey. I would thoroughly expect him to improve as the season goes on and he gets to play more and more Championship football games. So a bit to build on, solid, but obviously plenty to maybe get used to and accustomed to before we get into a full run of English football for Dimitris Giannoulis. But good to see him on the pitch anyway. I'm holding the camera with 2 hands now because my hand is absolutely freezing. No Xavi Cantilla in the squad at all today. So yeah, we'll see how that all pans out. But I'm sure we'll see Dimitri get another go come Millwall, or maybe not. Maybe Jakob Sorensen will go back into left back for that game. So, but there, that's it. I'm done. All my points have been made. We'll never speak of this again. We will be. I will be at the Den on Wednesday for Norwich's trip to Millwall. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. There is a piece on The Athletic that I did, a long piece on Emi Buendia and his time in Spain. That might make quite interesting reading off the back of today, I suppose. And there's a bit of Alex Tettey love on The Athletic too. Please read them because I'm happy with them. They're both cracking pieces if you get the chance. Look after yourselves. Leave any comments you wish to. Subscribe away as you wish. Thanks for your time and watching as always. Tell me if I'm completely wrong in anything I've said, because I always love hearing that. All right, you can tell me that too. I don't mind. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves. Look after each other. Keep going. We'll get through whatever all this is. And as I said, I'll see you at the Den in London on Wednesday night. Take care.